Hey everybody, it's Amira. I'm back for another installment of the Use My Supplies challenge. Today we are looking at puffy paints. Now, I was walking through the checkouts at Linkcraft and there was this item for $2.49. And I thought, oh, what a bargain. Look at that. They're amazing. They're puffy paints and they're pearlescent. Yep, I'll grab that. I'll do something with that. Now, this was 3 years ago. And I've had this set and I don't know what to do with it. If you flip over on the other sides, 2009, they're called Pearl Writers pearlescent glue pens. Basically they're, it's puffy paint, their consistency. Yeah, they've been sitting here and every time I look at them, I feel guilty that I bought something that I wasn't using. Even though it was a good price, it's not a bargain unless you're really using it. So I challenged myself to use these for this episode, and I'd like to show you what I've made. So I turned it into, I'm calling this a zigzag color album. So that's that side, and then on the other side, it looks like that. And then I, close it like that. I'm just going to wrap something around that to keep that closed. But yeah, so I'm looking at, if you see that sheen on the back there, that's the puffy paint, the pearlescence of the puffy paint. And I'm going to show you how I made these, so stay tuned. All right, so for this project, we're going to start with this paper. It's called Quill Board. It's 200 GSM. And I buy it from Officeworks here in Australia, which is just like a stationery store, very similar to Staples. So I've cut these down to about like a 4x6 size. Okay, so we'll do 6 4x6. Now, here are my puffy paints. Let's see, what colors shall we choose today? Let's see how we go. Let's try and do different ones. So we'll do an orange. Well, this is a stage I love, right? You're just picking out all that. That's a lovely blue there. We'll do a green and let's do a yellow. Okay. Cool. So then over here, I've got my palette. And what I'm going to need, what you're also going to need, is some cling wrap. Now, I'll show you any old cling wrap will do, but I'll show you how to get some. So just get a little bit, right? Get half of it, crunch it up into a ball, and then stick that into there, and then crunch this up. So this is your dabbing, this is your dauber that you'll be dabbing with, all right? And I've got one for each of my colors. So let's go ahead and get started here. Probably use maybe about that much. Okay. Now, before you start, I'll get you to protect your work surface, okay? So, got that there. We've got our yellow color, and we'll start. Now, don't just dab, dab, dab. Go right all the way to the edge. Try not to have any thick areas. Re-dab. Make sure that you also leave plenty of white spaces because the white with the yellow really contrasts. And make sure these areas all get taken off before they dry. the first one done. And you can see how shiny and pearlescent it is. Now these are now dry and looking really good, I think. So the next thing that I want you to do is to look at each color and then think of like a stamp that you want to use that goes with the colored background. So for example, what I'm going to do is I have this stamp set over here, right? So it's an ocean botanical sort of theme, and I've decided that this blue here, I'm going to put, see this seahorsey? He's going to be the image that's stamped in the background. This yellow here, I've decided that it's going to be the starfish. He's going to go there. Next is this green one here. Looks nice and leafy, I think. So I'm going to choose this leaf for that one. This orange one over here, I was going through my stamps and I thought that this arrow one would go good, like orangey brownie. So I think that would go good there. This purple one I thought would look really good with a feather in it as a background. So I think that would go perfect. And finally, this red one, I decided that I wanted to use the heart from this set here. So that's gonna go there. So next step is to choose a stamp from your stamp collection that goes with the color of each background. After that, I then want you to go to your inks and choose similar inks. So for the yellow one, this is my inks over here. For the yellow one, I've decided I'm going to use the fossilized amber. For the purple one, I'm going to go with the wilted violet. For the blue one, the green one, and this one, I'm going to use this Dilutions palette, which contains all three of those colors. And for this orange one, I'm going to use my spiced marmalade to go with that. So I've got my little stamping block. I have my ink here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to ink this up. Okay, I'm going to stamp off to the side to see if that doesn't overpower it, and I think that those are pretty good. I don't think you need to do the shadow stamp, so I think I'm just going to go straight on with that. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so we're going to do that one. We're going to go one here, and you can use a second stamp, that's not a problem. Go maybe one off the side. One up here. Leave, you know, I say leave a lot of white space, and I think that that's good enough for that one. Can't help myself. All right, so that one's done. All right, let's move on to this little guy over here. My little stamping and my wilted violet. Have a go here next to it. Oh, I think it might overpower it. Yeah, so I think what we'll do is just do a tiny stamp and then onto that. And I think that that is good. Alrighty, so a little bit, tiny touch, and then there. There. And you know, I have this habit of being uniform. I really want to not be so uniform. Do this way, like that. Okay, that looks good. Maybe one more there for good luck. Oh, that looks good, I think. This looks kind of empty here. Okay, I like that one. All right, so that one's done. Okay, so I am just going to fast forward it here so that you don't watch how boring this is. So with the arrow one, I did have a little bit of problems with this. I found that the stamping it directly was a bit too dark, but then the second stamping off was a little bit too light, and so I ummed and ahed over it, and I don't know, it wasn't my most favorite, but you know, it turns out well in the end. So I'm fiddling around with it here, and I don't know whether to stop or go, or whether to tear it up, but I persevere. So yeah, I tell myself to stop. Moving on to the next color now, which is the blue, the seahorse. So using that palette there, and you can see there that the straight stamping is really, really, really dark. So I had to stamp it off, and then that one was just a dream. That was like 4 or 5 stamps, and that blue one was done. So looks really good. Make sure you go to the edges as well. It's turns out really nice that way. Next one is this green one. This green one was got to be my favorite. So I think I used it neat, straight on. Yep. And this one came together like a dream as well. It's just amazing how sometimes things just work out from the first go. And the vision that I had in my brain was the vision that it turned out. So I loved that one. Last one was this red heart one. I thought that the stamp was a little bit too small, and the color of that pink was not good. So I ended up going for the abandoned coral, which was perfect. I didn't have to stamp it off. In the end, I was fine with the stamp. The small size of the stamp wasn't a problem at all. Just finishing off, I just had to do many because it was a smaller stamp, and I think that's just about ready done. Alrighty, so after that, you should be at this stage. They look great. All right. Now, the next thing you need to do is choose a stamp that will fit with the theme that you're going for here. All right, so I've come back with these 2 stamps. So for the orange one, I've decided to do this fairy, and for this yellow one, I've decided to do this seaside kind of silhouette. It's really important that you choose stamps that are solid. I'll show you an example. So this is an example of a stamp where the image is not solid, and I didn't like it. I didn't think that it was, it made a punchy statement. So it's best from experience that you choose a stamp that's black. You know, like when you ink it up, it stamps the entire image comes up. So let's go ahead and do this one first. So I'm bringing in, this is my homemade stamping tool. If you want to see how I made this, I've got another video that you can check out. And it's quite easy to use. All you need is just to position your paper on the left hand side, and then place your stamp where you want it to go. Flip that lid over and pick up that stamp, then ink it, and then press it over, stamp it back up, and yeah, lift it and have a look. Now you do remember that the acrylic paint, well, that the puffy paint, which is really acrylic paint, does some kind of resist. So you have to make sure that you allow this to dry, because if I were to touch it now, big smear. All right, so we'll put that off to the side to dry. Just saving you a little bit of time here. You can just see how I'm stamping it there. on the right hand side. Then I'm going to flip it over and do a stamp, and that looks great. Alrighty, looks good. So move that one across. And, now for the next one, I've decided to go with a die. This die cut is this little fairy from Kaisercraft, and I decided to die cut her out of black cardstock. So she's gonna go in there, and she just looks so striking there. So I've already done that. I've already dyed her, and I'll use my fine tip glue. Good. All right. So she's gonna go right there. I think that looks really great and really soft. Okay, so that one's done. This one here, I decided to go with this alder tree, and that's this one, the Grand Altar Tree by Puffy Stamps. This is one of my most favorite dies. Gosh, that looks amazing. I love it. All right, that one's done. The next one is, I chose this one. I think this is cute. I love it. And this one is another die by Kaisercraft. This is the first of the feathers that they brought out. It was a very basic one, and I didn't have a feather die at the time, so I jumped and I bought it. Kaisercraft has since released a gorgeous feather, which I am hoping to get, which will make this one redundant, but I think it works really well there. It's nice and soft. Okay, and my last one is this one. This die was a gift sent to me on my birthday by the beautiful Jen Vine, and it looked like that. I love it. So she's a mermaid, like sitting on the rocks. It's like a set of 3. Love it. I'm sorry, I don't know what make it is. Great, she looks good. Alrighty, so let's have a look at them all together. Those are the 4 with the die cuts, and these are the 2 with the stamps. Okay, so then the next thing I did was I grabbed some of my script die words, and I matched them up to, you know, the scene that I've created, and this is what I decided for each one. I love the fairy. I think fairies are gorgeous, so she's lovely. This is great. I love this one. This must be my favorite, I think. So hello, thank you. I don't know why I chose thank you for that one. Like, thank you for a beautiful childhood or something like that. I feel like that's what I'm trying to say with that one. This one is just gorgeous. It makes me really happy. Love from the hearts. And then this one, I think this one makes me crack up. She's like chilling out. Just today, I'm gonna chill out. So I can so associate with her right now. Okay, so we're at this stage now. Everything is down nicely. I'm loving how it looks. The next thing I'd like to do is I'm going to grab my VersaFine Vintage Sepia ink pad. I'm also going to grab just a sponge dauber, and I am going to very, very lightly touch the edges of this just to frame them that little bit more. And we've reached the last stage. So this is the final product of the experiment of using up my Puffy Paint to create a background. Now, where to go from here? You could go several ways, and I do actually have a couple of ideas. The first thing you can do, which comes to mind, is they can be turned into cards. So these are card fronts that you can just layer up on a card and, you know, tape them down, trim that bit off, and you have a gorgeous card that you made yourself. You made the background, you stamped, you die cut the sentiment. You made this. But I do have an idea of what I want to do with this. So stay tuned for part 2, where I show you what I did with this lot of cards.